Welcome to another exciting video full of news about our beloved Arsenal. If you are passionate about Arsenal and don't want to miss any information, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to always stay updated. Believe me, you won't want to miss any information. Arsenal gets a wake-up call as Mikel Merino shows why he's a £31.6 million bargain. Arsenal may have just been reminded that one of their most underrated signings could actually become one of their most important. Mikel Merino, a name that stirred mixed emotions just days ago, gave manager Mikel Arteta plenty to think about after a rollercoaster week that highlighted both his potential and the challenges ahead. It's been a whirlwind for Merino. From being at the heart of the criticism following Arsenal's tough loss at Anfield to scoring a sensational hat-trick for Spain in a World Cup qualifier away in Turkey, he's shown exactly what he's capable of when given the right platform. Let's be clear, scoring goals isn't typically the first thing people expect from a £31.6 million midfield signing. But Merino isn't your typical midfielder. Last season, he filled in admirably as a forward when Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus were sidelined, proving his versatility and attacking instincts. With Havertz out again and Jesus struggling with fitness, new signing Viktor Gyökeres has stepped in. But make no mistake, Merino's ability to influence games in the final third hasn't gone unnoticed. Against Liverpool, Arteta opted for a midfield trio of Merino, Declan Rice, and Martin Zubimendi, a move that raised eyebrows. With Martin Degaard not fully fit and Eberechi arriving late in the window, the selection was seen by many, myself included, as overly conservative given the magnitude of the match. Arteta, however, remained upbeat in the post-match press conference. "That's what we had available," he explained. "Martin was injured, Kai couldn't play, and Merino is a fantastic player. We started with 3 attacking players and 2 offensive fullbacks. It's easy to question after the result." Truthfully, Merino didn't shine at Anfield, aside from one neat setup for Noni Madueke on the right, but the contrast with his performance for Spain was stark. It begs the question, how can Arsenal unlock that same version of Merino? He clearly has an eye for goal. He's scored against top sides like Real Madrid and Liverpool before. And in Spain's system, which often operates without a traditional number 9, Merino has more freedom to roam, drift into the box, and capitalize on chaos. That's exactly how he found so much joy against Turkey. Arteta's system, in contrast, is far more structured and controlled. It emphasizes dominance through discipline. But perhaps, within that structure, there's room to give Merino a bit more freedom, especially in midfield, where his intelligence, movement, and timing can be game-changing. The challenge, however, is competition. With a front line now brimming with firepower, Madueke, Gyökeres, and the emerging Max Daumann, Merino's starts may be limited. But with the inevitable injuries, fixture congestion, and the need for impact off the bench, his opportunities will come. And if this past week is any indication, he's more than ready to take them. Just days after showcasing his lethal edge, Merino's hat-trick for Spain sparked renewed discussion about his role at Arsenal and how the club could better utilize his unique talents. Many are now questioning whether a tactical shift might be necessary to maximize his impact, especially with the current injury challenges facing the squad. Arsenal has been hit hard by injuries early in the season. Key players like William Saliba, Bukayo Saka, and Kai Havertz are sidelined, forcing Arteta to rely more heavily on squad depth. Saliba's absence in defense, in particular, poses a challenge ahead of important fixtures, including matches against Manchester City, Newcastle, and a crucial Champions League away game. With a lineup already stretched, Merino's versatility becomes even more valuable. Throughout the previous season, he stepped into unfamiliar attacking roles and delivered crucial goals, proving he can be a reliable source of offensive threat. His ability to adapt, whether playing as a midfielder or as a makeshift forward, has given Arteta a flexible option amid these difficulties. Merino's performances have also earned respect from teammates and coaches alike. He has been praised not only for his goal scoring but for his work rate, tactical intelligence, and physical resilience. Despite a shoulder injury earlier in the season, he maintained consistency and even emerged as Arsenal's top scorer over a key period, finding the net against top-tier opponents like Real Madrid and Chelsea. Looking ahead, Arsenal faces a tactical and strategic crossroads. Arteta must balance the need for defensive solidity with the opportunity to unlock Merino's attacking potential. His ability to operate in multiple positions offers an important option as the team navigates fixture congestion and the ongoing injury crisis. In this context, Merino's role could be pivotal, not just as a squad player, but as someone who can change the course of games when called upon. How Arteta manages this balance and integrates Mourinho's strengths could have significant implications for Arsenal's ambitions this season. The wildly strong Arsenal 11 Arteta could field vs Port Vale, while resting his entire starting lineup. Mikel Arteta could name a starting 11 against Port Vale in the Carabao Cup that might raise a few eyebrows, not because it's weak, but because it's ridiculously strong, even with all 11 of his regular starters sitting out. That's how far Arsenal have come. The Gunners used this summer window not just to strengthen, but to transform. They broke their own summer spending record, and according to reports, loanee Piero Hincapié has a £45 million option to buy clause that's expected to be triggered next summer. That would push Arsenal's total investment for 2025 past the £300 million mark. For Arteta, this wasn't just a spending spree, it was a statement. A dream window designed to equip him with a squad capable of fighting for every trophy. And despite suffering through an early season injury crisis, there are now no excuses. Arsenal have the tools to go the distance in all competitions. Next week, they begin their Champions League campaign away to Athletic Club in Bilbao. Just a few days later, they'll head to Vale Park to face Port Vale, on paper, a far less glamorous tie. But the Carabao Cup matters, especially after last season's semi-final disappointment against Newcastle United. That painful loss fed into the narrative that Arteta still has something to prove when it comes to getting over the semi-final hump. This season feels different. With 8 new faces in the squad and last year's young players now a year more experienced, Arsenal looks stronger than ever. So strong, in fact, that Arteta can afford to rotate heavily against a lower league side, and still field a team that many Premier League clubs would envy. In goal, Kepa Arrizabalaga could make his debut. He arrives with Champions League winning experience and will challenge David Raya for the No. 1 shirt. The back four might include Ben White, Christian Mosquera, Piero Hincapié, and 17-year-old Miles Lewis-Skelly, a backline that blends youth, talent, and top-flight experience. With William Saliba sidelined, Mosquera may already have seen plenty of minutes by then, but he still looks set to be a key part of this cup side. In midfield, Christian Nørgaard, yet to make his debut due to injury, is expected to be fit. Just ahead of him, Eberechi Eze and Ethan Nwaneri could offer creativity and attacking intent. Eze brings flair and composure, while Nwaneri, just 15, has already shown flashes of brilliance and composure beyond his years. Up front, 18-year-old Max Daumann has impressed in pre-season and could be handed his first senior start. He might be joined by Leandro Trossard, who recently linked up beautifully with Nwaneri in a cameo against Leeds. The chemistry between the two was immediate and exciting. Leading the line, none other than Mikel Merino. With Victor Gyökeres likely to be rested, Merino, fresh off a hat-trick for Spain, could take up the unfamiliar but not unwelcome role of central forward. At 29, with big game experience and proven versatility, he has already shown he can deliver in the final third when it matters most. Projected Arsenal 11 vs Port Vale. Kepa, White, Mosquera, Hincapié, Lewis-Skelly, Nørgaard, Eze, Nwaneri, Daumann, Merino, Trossard. What this possible lineup proves isn't just that Arsenal have depth, it's that they've quietly built one of the most well-rounded squads in Europe. If Arteta plays it right, this could be the year that not only sees the Gunners lifting silverware, but doing it with style, confidence, and a team deep enough to fight on all fronts. The surprisingly strong Arsenal 11 Arteta could field against Port Vale, while resting all of his starters. Arsenal's squad depth is no longer a theory, it's becoming a clear advantage. Mikel Arteta is in a rare position ahead of the upcoming Carabao Cup clash with Port Vale. He could rest his entire starting lineup and still send out an 11 that looks both competitive and well-balanced. This kind of rotation wasn't possible for Arsenal just a couple of seasons ago. But after a highly active summer transfer window, where the club focused on reinforcing every line of the squad, things look very different now. The potential activation of a £45 million buy clause for Piero Hincapié would bring the total squad investment heading into 2025 to over £300 million, a reflection of the club's serious ambitions. Despite the early injury crisis affecting key players like William Saliba, Bukayo Saka, and Kai Havertz, Arsenal are still expected to compete on all fronts. Their Champions League campaign starts soon with a tough trip to Bilbao. Then, just days later, they head to face Port Vale, a lower league opponent in a match where squad rotation is not just expected, but necessary. Last season's Carabao Cup exit in the semi-finals to Newcastle left a sense of unfinished business. Arsenal were close, but not quite there. That loss fed into the ongoing narrative surrounding Arteta and his ability to get over the line in knockout competitions. This season, with the squad both refreshed and matured, the expectations are higher. The projected lineup for the Port Vale game might include players like Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal, with a backline of Ben White, Christian Mosquera, Piero Hincapié, and young prospect Miles Lewis-Skelly. Given Saliba's current absence, Mosquera may have already stepped into a more prominent role by this point. In midfield, Christian Nørgaard is expected to return from injury and could anchor the centre of the park. Ahead of him, Eberechi Eze and 15-year-old Ethan Nwaneri could bring flair and unpredictability, combining experience and youthful promise. The attacking trio could feature 18-year-old Max Daumann, who continues to impress, alongside Leandro Trossard and Mikel Merino. With Victor Gyökeres likely rested, Merino may step into a more advanced role, something he's already done with confidence for Spain, having recently scored a hat-trick in international play. Possible Arsenal 11 vs Port Vale. Kepa, White, Mosquera, Hincapié, Lewis-Skelly, Nørgaard, Eze, Nwaneri, Daumann, Merino, Trossard. This lineup would not only allow Arteta to rest his core players but also provide meaningful minutes for those pushing to break into the starting 11. It's a reminder of how well the club has prepared to compete across multiple competitions. However, rotation always carries risk. Cup upsets are part of football's reality, and playing away at Vale Park could pose challenges, especially with a youthful squad. Still, if Arsenal's fringe players deliver a commanding performance, it could silence doubts and build momentum ahead of bigger tests in the league and in Europe. There's also the mental side of the game to consider. Winning, even with a rotated team, reinforces belief and builds internal competition, a crucial ingredient for any title-contending squad. And for the younger players especially, this is a chance to prove they're not just future stars, but players for the present. For Arteta, this match isn't just about managing minutes. It's about managing expectations, seizing opportunities, and showing that this Arsenal side has grown beyond being just a strong 11. It's becoming a strong 25.